Welcome to DaAi Headlines. I'm Wendy Chen. Thank you for joining us. Coming up in today's show, New York City volunteers are making the final preparation for a large-scale distribution to help 1,800 families this weekend. We meet another recipient of this year's Medical Devotion Award, Dr. Zhang Guanyu, who is safeguarding the health of residents in eastern Taiwan. And as buildings are now required to provide wheelchair access, we find out ways to make restaurants handicapped friendly. We kick off today's program in the United States and join New York City volunteers as they went to Jefferson Beach in Brooklyn to make the final preparations for a large-scale distribution this weekend that will help a total of 1,800 households. As well, they also planned on holding a relief distribution at Coney Island. Though Hurricane Sandy caused major damage across New York City, the mainstream media only focused on the condition of its financial center, Manhattan. However, when city volunteers went further into the disaster area, they could deeply feel how helpless and hopeless disaster victims are.
To prepare for the large-scale aid distribution here this weekend, city volunteers visited Jefferson Beach to make the final confirmations to the distribution list. In total, 1,800 families will be helped.
They are making a list of disaster victims, then we will carry out the aid distribution according to the list. Around 1,800 households will receive aid supplies.
I have to give you a hug. With the assistance of New York City Comptroller Office, city volunteers visited another disaster area in Brooklyn, Coney Island.
Boo! Up to Boo. Up to Boo. Oh, okay. Yeah, that's how far I saw. That's the water line there. So I lost 50% of my home. I haven't even seen the insurance company yet. And then they called me, they said they won't be here until the 25th. I'm like, how am I supposed to live like this?
Pamela said at least 500 households in this neighborhood are facing the same situation. However, the New York City government has not provided any assistance to this low-income neighborhood in the 2 weeks following the disaster.
It's a low-income neighborhood. A lot of projects, housing development for low-income people, some senior housing. Coney Island just started to rebuild, and now we're back a few years back, Now we have to start from the scratch all over again. I see people from Alabama, from Texas, coming here to Coney Island to help. And Mayor Bloomberg, he cares mostly about Manhattan, in my opinion. That's his main priority.
The damage caused by Hurricane Sandy is not headline news anymore, but that hasn't stopped city volunteers from helping the residents in hard-hit Brooklyn, Queens and Staten Island boroughs.
To help Hurricane Sandy victims in Kingsburg Town, New Jersey, city volunteers held a relief distribution last weekend. The mayor of the town, George Hoff, also joined the distribution events. Afterwards, he finally had a chance to clean up his own home, which was almost completely destroyed by the hurricane as well.
After Hurricane Sandy, Kingsburg Town's mayor, George Hoff, has been busy visiting the storm survivors. Only after last weekend did he finally have time to clean up his own home.
The water line's down here, you're safe. Up 4 foot high, you're safe, because no moisture will travel up that high.
With his first floor almost completely destroyed, George Hoff and his wife search for precious memories among the discarded items.
Here's the rest of my wedding dress, headpiece,
How are you doing?
and my little bag that we put the cards in and stuff.
My children are adopted. This is all of their. This is all their documentation. We got to let this. We got to take this, dry it out, and see what we can salvage out of it. This was supposed to be. Excuse me.
Thinking about his children, George Hoff is blessed to have his family with him. Meanwhile, a visitor from out of town decided to deliver her homemade sandwiches to the disaster area.
We just wanted to help people who lost everything. They're taking everything out of their houses, and I wanted to make them feel a little better.
The road to recovery is still long. However, the love and support from everyone will help the victims regain the strength to move on.
As rebuilding efforts begin on the east coast of the United States, city volunteers on the west coast continue to help through fundraising. In St. Dimas, Los Angeles, a Japanese supermarket owner felt the love for Japan from all around the globe in the aftermath of the 311 earthquake and feels that he too should reciprocate the kindness this time. In Sacramento, California, city volunteers took to the streets to appeal for donations. Among them were seniors in their 70s and ones still bound with flu, but everyone wanted to give what they can.
After sincerely praying for the disaster victims, city volunteers set off to appeal for donations and kindle the compassion in people's hearts. In front of a supermarket, passers-by make a donation, a testimony to the fact that love exists in all.
I put that money in the box as you women are genuine, and I felt it. Yeah. And you believe in your cause. Yes.
To be standing with no rest for most of the day can take its toll on many, but city volunteers' determination to help the disaster victims out of hardship remains as steadfast as ever. Here in St. Dimas, volunteers are busy making donation boxes in preparation for further fundraising efforts. Volunteers are stationed at various exits of supermarkets, and the supermarket owner expresses his belief that in times of disaster and despair, love should have no boundaries.
When Japan experienced the 311 earthquake, we also received a lot of aid from many countries, just like yourselves. We received a lot of help from Taiwan. So being a Japanese living in the US and this being a Japanese supermarket here, we should most definitely reciprocate and help others.
Through everyone's contributions, city volunteers all around the United States are determined and committed to spreading the love of all to the darkest corners and lifting the victims, wherever they may be, out of despair.
While U.S. city volunteers continue with their relief work, they have also been sending back progress reports to the city headquarters in Hualien. After seeing the reports, staff there realized that the damage is far beyond what they imagined. To help, staff from the Foundation's Religious Affairs Department and the Hualien City Hospital decided to start a fundraising campaign to canvass for donations. Folding their palms and praying sincerely as one, Tzu Chi Foundation staff in Hualien are holding a study group during their lunch break and also canvassing for donations for Hurricane Sandy victims.
We hope that in times of need, that we can all give a little of our love. The Master said, if we are to ask others to do something, it will be awkward if we don't do it ourselves first. So this morning, I went to withdraw some money. I hope to motivate and appeal to everyone to give, so I'm donating a month's worth of salary.
Staff from the Religious Affairs Department began a fundraising campaign to help disaster victims in the U.S. and successfully inspired many more to give what they can. Everyone also writes their sincere blessings on a card, hoping that the flood victims' lives can soon return to normalcy. Wherever the donation box goes, love pours in. Jingse boat masters and visiting delegates all seize the opportunity to make a difference.
Tzu Chi is like a diplomat of charity, so I am very happy to be here today. All of our sisters made small donations as we all hope to turn our love into great love and eventually reach out to more people.
Meanwhile, at the entrance hall in Hualien Tzu Chi Hospital, staff also put together a fundraising activity. Doctors and nurses all brought their bamboo coin banks and, under the guidance of the superintendent, donated their love to those in need.
In Taiwan, we Tzu Chi volunteers, though unable to travel abroad to help with the relief work, are still able to help through our prayers and donations. We can gather everyone's blessings and contribute our share.
Apart from the medical staff, volunteers also wait in line to give their blessings to those living far away in the United States. In times of a catastrophic disaster, what is important is to come together in a united effort to reach out to every needy corner. As we continue on our report on those doctors honored at this year's Medical Devotion Awards, we travel once again to Taiwan's east coast to meet Dr. Zhang Guanyu. Originally from Tainan, Dr. Zhang moved to Taidong 25 years ago to work at the then recently opened Taidong McKay Memorial Hospital. He has been there ever since and currently serves as the hospital's superintendent. When asked about his decision to move to Taidong, Dr. Zhang says that Taipei has all the doctors it needs and one less would not be missed. But in remote areas like Taidong, doctors are desperately needed and each is a treasure for the community.
I wanted the superintendent to do my surgery. He is smart, his surgery skills are really good, and he is also kind and patient with us.
The doctor this patient is referring to is none other than Zhang Guanyu, currently superintendent of the Taidong McKay Memorial Hospital. Dr. Zhang first started treating patients in Taidong after he was discharged from the military service years ago. When he was 33, he accepted a post at the Taidong McKay Memorial Hospital and has worked there ever since.
There are so many doctors in Taipei, one more or less won't make a difference. But in Taidong, every doctor counts. Even today, we have all the equipment and departments we need, but we don't have enough doctors to staff them.
In order to establish a bond of trust with his patients, in addition to volunteering, Dr. Zhang now lives in Taidong full-time.
The people in Taidong are very lucky. We don't have to travel to the west coast of Taiwan for treatment, but can find all the service we need here.
As a guardian of the health of Taidong's residents, Dr. Zhang gets up at 5 every morning to go running. He says exercise is essential for him, giving him the energy and stamina to take care of his patients. At around 7 a.m., Dr. Zhang is already at the hospital where he makes rounds checking in on his patients.
Seeing him personally come to change the patient's medication shows me that he really cares. His attention to detail and diligence is obvious for all us family members to see.
An orthopedic department is an essential part of any hospital, especially for those who have been in a car accident or injured in other ways.
I was in the same class as Chen Yinghe. We had just finished our chief resident duties when I met him at a medical conference. He said he was going to Hualien to work. I said I might go to the McKay Hospital. So he said, okay, you go to Taidong and I'll go to Hualien, and I agreed.
In the tradition of George McKay, in whose memory the McKay Memorial Hospital was founded, following the 1991 earthquake and the 1988 floods, Dr. Zhang led a medical team to many of the disaster areas. For his actions, he was not only recognized by his co-workers, but also feted at the 22nd Annual Medical Devotion Awards.
I have to thank all the support that I have received from the hospital. Actually, it is the mentor of the McKay Hospital and the hard work of the 851 staff at the hospital that make it possible to do what I do. In receiving this award, I think the award committee was actually acknowledging the efforts of the McKay Memorial Hospital as a whole. I don't see it as a personal award.
Humble and diligent is the impression all takes away after meeting Dr. Zhang. Dr. Zhang says that it was his father, also a doctor, who taught him the importance of keeping patients as his priorities. It is these values that inform his daily work and has motivated him to start fundraising for Taidong's first ICU building.
Recently, the Philippines Tzu Chi chapter held a 2-day charity sale to raise funds for the construction of a Tzu Chi ophthalmology center. The event was joined by various food, electronic and motorbike companies. One company even donated $24,000 worth of products to support the cause.
Upon arriving at the fair, the wife of the mayor of San Mateo City hits the gong.
To bring in more blessings.
I hope to bring more blessings and inspire others to give their love.
Hitting the gong, everyone hopes to encourage others to give a little. Tima Dr. Zhang Lijun also calls upon everybody for their support.
With $146, you can help a cataract patient, and with $243, you can help a patient with glaucoma.
We let the public know what the purpose of this fundraiser is, and when they see how devoted we are, they are inspired to contribute a little.
The charity sale is also joined by a variety of different companies who all kindly lowered the price of their products as a way to encourage everyone to make a purchase for the cause.
Yes, we've been here since 7 in the morning from setting up the place, and then jam-packed. There were a lot of people early this morning. Actually, now these are almost all empty boxes already. Yeah, we've sold out almost everything.
We will donate 100% of the earnings to Tzu Chi. We hope the money can help the poor in this country.
A month before the charity sale, Tzu Chi volunteers made these decorations, hoping to support the cause.
I don't feel tired at all, and I'm very happy because I know the money will go towards the construction of the Tzu Chi Ophthalmology Center.
To make sure the charity fair is clean and tidy, local volunteers worked extra hard in sorting the garbage. Now, with the donated money, volunteers hope that the ophthalmology center can be built soon to help patients see the light again.
Wheelchair accessibility is a term you might hear often, but most people don't think it applies to them. Yet for those temporarily bound to the wheelchair due to an accident or push around a baby stroller, ramps, elevators and plenty of space suddenly becomes an important factor for restaurant choices. Let's take a look now at how making a restaurant handicapped friendly can be done without much hassle.
I'd like to eat at this noodle shop, but the stairs prevent me from doing so.
In Taiwan, there was no law that required wheelchair accessibility in buildings until October of this year. The new building code requires all new buildings to be wheelchair accessible.
New building constructions, no matter it's for public or private use, we will have to adhere to our regulation of providing wheelchair accessibility.
But for buildings already in place, if it is a restaurant, the new law only requires storefronts that are 300 square meters in size or larger to install wheelchair-friendly access. This restriction seems to be a loophole for restaurant owners.
Most restaurants are smaller in scale, and a smaller restaurant frequently change owners, so the government can keep up with change.
The government feels they don't have the manpower to carry out the investigation of areas smaller than 300 square meters. But what about our rights to dine at such places? How can our rights be measured against manpower?
A wheelchair user himself, Xu Chaofu, has visited many countries and seen many restaurants as he searches for suitable wheelchair-accessible places, large and small.
Even if the restaurant isn't large, they can still have a ramp available. If the restaurant has only one bathroom, it's always wheelchair accessible.
If the building itself isn't wheelchair-friendly, restaurant owners will install equipment to help combat such obstructions.
This is an elevator. After you open the door and get inside, it takes you to the main entrance. There's stairs over there, so if needed, a ramp can be pulled out and used. This is a removable ramp. It's a simple solution.
Seeing the examples from overseas, it doesn't seem to be difficult to build a wheelchair-friendly area, as long as the government is willing to educate business owners.
If the physically handicapped are unable to join family and friends for dinner due to building restrictions, then this isn't really a construction problem anymore. It's a social problem. Basically, the social rights of the wheelchair user is being restricted, which it not only affects the wheelchair users, but also the pockets of businesses.
As winter is fast approaching, city volunteers in China have begun preparations for upcoming winter relief distributions in Fujian province. Biscuits and cakes donated by a local company are packed into gift bags to be given to the residents. On November 10th and 11th, city volunteers headed into townships located in mountainous areas, bringing warmth and care to the poor, sick and elderly.
City volunteers head into the mountains here in Nanjing County, bringing love to the residents living in remote townships. This 79-year-old senior with a dowager's hump still looks after this grandpa who has reduced mobility. The care of City volunteers moved this grandpa to tears. This grandma is all smiles when she sees the volunteers and gives each volunteer a warm hug. The volunteers help the grandma put on a jacket so she does not catch a cold. Although the senior suffered from a stroke, she still insists on getting out from her bed to welcome her visitors. Going from door to door, the distance between each house is miles apart, and from the two-day journey, the volunteers understand to cherish their blessings.
Although we have to walk long distances, everyone is very content. It's about giving without asking for anything in return. Everyone worked willingly and joyfully.
To prepare the gift bags for the locals, city volunteers and other local residents work to pack the gift bags, which are filled with biscuits and cakes donated by a local company.
Having the opportunity to be a part of these activities, whether it is winter relief distributions or disaster relief, we feel is a blessing for us that we are able to do something for the community.
The gift bags look exquisite, and apart from the delicacies which are inside, each gift bag is also packed with plentiful love from the volunteers.
We go back to the United States at the end of our program today and join the group of Pick Up America as they spent the last 2.5 years traveling from the East Coast to the West to pick up garbage. As they recently arrived in San Francisco, students of the Tzu Chi Academy joined in the conservation work. We'll leave you with these images. Thank you for tuning in. Goodbye.